Hello again, and welcome to Real World Prepper. I'm Real World Prepper. And today I just wanted to talk to you in this video, just briefly, about how to start prepping for non-preppers. That's a good question, right? If you don't prep, if you're new to this, if you're thinking about doing this, if this is something that you don't do, but you want to start doing, or even if you don't, you're wondering how would somebody do that? You hear about all these stockpiles of all kinds of things that people keep and warehouse level, amounts and all this kind of stuff, and you get overwhelmed. Even if you wanted to do something like that, you go, how in the world am I going to do that? I mean, I go to work and I come home and I got a family and regular grocery shopping, and what am I going to do with all this stuff? Well, I'm going to give you just a real simple, what I think is a real simple way just to start, how to start prepping for non-preppers. So, I'm going to title this video the same thing. So, what we did a few years ago when we first got the idea that we might want to start putting up some things in lieu of different emergencies. In my previous video, which technically was my first official video for this channel, I talked about a few things. I used the example of the ice storm that we had in this area back 20 some odd years ago, and I mentioned other types of ways that things might happen. Your electricity grid goes down for an indeterminate period of time, or a storm ravages an area, or again, more nefarious things like an EMP attack and nothing works, or nuclear war, or whatever it may be. So how do you prepare in a way that you can sustain longer than the day and a half to 2 days, which the majority of Americans are only prepared to sustain themselves and their families for? My opinion, it's easy as this. Baby steps. Who remembers the movie, I believe it was What About Bob? Richard Dreyfuss and Bill Murray. And Bob's this mentally challenged fella. He's got some psychological issues, and that's Bill Murray's character, and Richard Dreyfuss plays the shrink who deals with him. He's like, baby steps, so Bob's like, baby steps to the door, baby steps to this, baby steps to that. So every little step he took was baby steps. Now, in that movie, it was a very exaggerated case of baby steps. It was a comedy, and it was a funny movie. I suggest checking it out. But what I mean by baby steps is, when you're going to make your normal grocery run anyway, for example, let's say you're going to the store, you got, I don't know, I know people who go to the store every day or every 2 days, and they only buy for that far ahead, every day or every 2 days. That's a little ridiculous to me, even if you're not prepping. But beside the point, what we do in our household is typically, a big grocery run every 10 to 14 days, with possibly a supplemental run in between, and that's just for living every day. But every time we go, or almost every time we go, at the very least, you buy a little extra. Let's say you're going and you need 4 cans of cream of chicken for a couple of recipes you're going to do that later that week. Well, why not go ahead and get 6 cans of cream of chicken or 8 cans of cream of chicken, and you put 4 of them that you're going to use, in your pantry, and you put the other 4, obviously you've got to designate a space somewhere, but even if it's a small space, somewhere to start to just put it aside. So the next time, so you don't think about that. The next time you need cream of chicken soup, don't go, oh, well, I've got the 4 cans there that we put up. No, put it on your list and go get it. And maybe while you're going and getting it, buy a couple more cans. So you come back and you add those to your 4 cans that are already there, and now there's 6. And whether that be beans or canned meat or whatever, toilet paper, peanut butter, hand sanitizer, soaps, toothpaste, corn, anything non-perishable that can last a long time. I say non-perishable, longer lasting foods. You know, canned foods obviously have a few years of shelf life, and frankly they're really good well past their best by date. You know, they're still edible for many years after that, but you put that stuff up, and what happens is little by little you've made these baby steps. You know, you're not going and shelling out, you know, $100, $200, $800, $1,500, whatever you might, you know, a gazillion dollars. You know, you're not shelling that out all in one fell swoop so that you can come home and go, all right, we're stocked, we're ready. You know, if you can do that, more power to you. Great, that would be super. But for most people, you can't do that. So that's why I say baby steps. Every time you just add a little bit, and then you sort of forget about it. You don't consider that to be, well, I don't have to go to the store this week because I did it. I doubled up last week. You still, you forget about that stock, and you still write on your list what you need for that week, and you go. You put a little extra. I'm going to give you some examples here. For example, you go to the store, buy you an extra gallon of water, or a case, you know, of 24 bottles of 16.9 ounces. Buy you some easily storable and, you know, longer lasting proteins. Canned meat with an expiration date of, I say expiration, a best buy date of I don't know if you can see that, 2023. You know, this is January of 2019, so, and it's good well beyond that too if you had to eat it. You know, beans, hand sanitizer. These are just a few examples, but you could do this every time you went to the store. Even if you did something every time you went, whatever you can afford, whatever you can swing, whatever you're comfortable with, do that. So baby steps is the way to go. Baby steps is how I would recommend starting to prep for non-preppers. The way that non-preppers would start to prep, or could start to prep. Baby steps. Next thing you know, you got a little bit put up that you can actually see, organize, get a sense of what you've got. That will inspire you, encourage you. You will learn things. You will have a better understanding of it. I promise you, you will. It will come naturally. Once you have a little shelf that's extra, that's not part of your daily routine, that you look at and you go, you know, if I had to shut the door and I couldn't come back out, my family and I could sustain on this for X number of days. And so that is what you're going for. That is your goal, and how you do it is up to you. I recommend the more the merrier, and obviously happier and longer living in an ideal situation, when an unideal situation takes place. So that being said, I'm going to end this video. Thank you for watching Real World Prepper. Please like, subscribe, share if you're enjoying this content, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.